The Nika Riots were one of the most violent and dramatic uprisings in the history of the Byzantine Empire, taking place in the great city of Constantinople in the year 532. At that time, Constantinople was the heart of the empire, filled with impressive buildings, busy markets, and a large population that depended on strong leadership. One of the most important places in the city was the Hippodrome, a huge stadium where people gathered to watch chariot races. These races were extremely popular and divided the population into two main groups known as the Blues and the Greens. Although these groups began as supporters of racing teams, they grew into powerful social groups with strong influence over public life. People often identified deeply with their chosen side, and the rivalry between the Blues and Greens could become intense and sometimes violent. Over time, these groups also became connected to political and social issues, turning the Hippodrome into a place where people could express not only excitement for races, but also anger toward the government. During the rule of Emperor Justinian I, tensions in the city were already high. Justinian was a determined ruler who wanted to restore the greatness of the Roman Empire. He launched military campaigns and large building projects which required a great deal of money. To pay for these efforts, taxes were increased, and many people became unhappy. In addition, some of his officials were seen as harsh and unfair, which made the situation worse. The immediate cause of the riots came when several members of both the Blues and the Greens were arrested after earlier disturbances. They were sentenced to death, but during the execution, two of them survived and escaped into a church for safety. This event drew sympathy from the public. Soon after, during a day of races in the Hippodrome, the crowd began to shout together in protest. Instead of cheering for their teams, both sides united and chanted the word Nika, meaning win or conquer. This marked the beginning of a full rebellion. The unrest quickly spread beyond the Hippodrome. Large crowds moved through the streets, setting fire to buildings and attacking symbols of imperial authority. The violence lasted for several days, and much of the city was destroyed by fire. Important buildings were lost, including a major church that once stood on the site of the later Hagia Sophia. The city was thrown into chaos, and it seemed possible that Justinian might lose control completely. As the situation grew worse, the rebellion became more political. The rioters decided to declare a new emperor named Hypatius, who had connections to a former ruling family. This move turned the uprising into a direct challenge to Justinian's rule. Faced with this danger, Justinian considered leaving the city to save himself. At this critical moment, his wife, Theodora, played an important role. She encouraged him to stay and fight rather than run away. Her determination helped Justinian make a firm decision to remain in power and deal with the rebellion. Justinian then created a plan to end the riots. He used both clever tactics and military force. He sent trusted generals to deal with the rebels and also tried to weaken the unity of the Blues and Greens by turning some of them back to his side. This reduced the strength of the uprising. The final and most brutal moment came when many of the rebels gathered again in the Hippodrome. Justinian's soldiers surrounded the stadium, trapping the crowd inside. Then they attacked. In a short time, thousands of people were killed. The violence was overwhelming, and the rebellion was crushed completely. Hypatius was captured and later executed, along with other leaders of the revolt. After the riots ended, Constantinople was badly damaged, with many buildings destroyed and many lives lost. However, Justinian used this as an opportunity to rebuild the city. He began large construction projects, including the building of a new and greater Hagia Sophia, which became one of the most famous churches in the world. The Nika riots had a lasting impact on the empire. They showed how dangerous public anger could become when combined with political tension. They also showed the power of strong leadership, as Justinian was able to survive a serious threat to his rule. After this event, he ruled with more control and less tolerance for opposition. In the end, the Nika riots were not just about sports rivalry. They were a major turning point that revealed deep problems in society, including anger over taxes, unfair treatment, and lack of trust in leadership. The events showed how quickly a city could fall into chaos, but also how it could recover under determined rule. The story remains an important example of conflict, power, and recovery in history.